The line was crossed. The sky above Colony Station 9 shimmered with trade ships, transport vessels, and diplomatic cruisers. It looked peaceful, like any other day in the outer rings of the Coalition. But underneath, tension simmered like a silent storm. A tall alien figure, cold blue skin and 3 eyes, stood before the main hall of the Galactic Council. His name was Van. He led the Tekri Empire, one of the strongest members of the Council. And today, he was angry. "We warned the humans," Van growled, his voice deep and sharp. "Their fleet crossed into restricted space. That is an act of war." Inside the council chamber, whispers spread. Some nodded, agreeing with Van. Others stayed silent. But one thing was clear: Earth's patience had been tested too long. In a quiet corner of the chamber sat a human man named Reed. He wasn't a general or a soldier. He was Earth's diplomat, and he looked tired. "We didn't cross into your space," Reed said calmly. "Your maps changed last week. No one told us." Van slammed his clawed hand on the table. "Excuses. You humans always play the victim. But you build weapons faster than anyone. You expand. You colonize. And now you dare touch Tekri territory." Reed stood up slowly. His face was calm, but his voice had weight. "You forget something," he said. "Earth agreed to peace. We stayed away. We followed your rules. Even when you raided our mining stations and claimed they were misplaced. We said nothing." The council chamber grew quiet. Reed continued, "But there's a line. A final one. And today, Tekri ships didn't just fire on a drone. They destroyed a civilian station. 200 lives. Children. Scientists. Farmers. That line. You crossed it." Van sneered. "What will Earth do? Cry to the stars?" "No," Reed replied. "We will send a message." Back on Earth, the command center known as the Core went into full lockdown. In a deep underground vault, a red light flashed for the first time in a century. A simple word glowed on every screen: Echelon Protocol active. General Mara, commander of Earth's Defense Forces, received the signal. She didn't speak. She just nodded. The message was clear: diplomacy was over. The Coalition had always looked down on humans. Called Earth a death world, full of chaos and emotion. But they forgot one truth: humans don't stay quiet forever. Fleet Command scrambled into motion. Ships that had stayed docked for decades began charging. Orbital platforms unlocked. Hidden launch bays. Special units received encrypted orders. Back at the council, Van laughed. "You expect us to fear Earth's little ships?" Reed didn't answer. He just turned and walked away. Minutes later, across dozens of systems, Coalition listening stations went dark. A single repeating signal filled the void. It was Earth's voice, translated into every known language: "You crossed the line. Earth has answered." In the days ahead, no one in the galaxy would be able to ignore it, because Earth's final warning had echoed, and now, the stars would shake. The black ships wake. The skies above Earth were quiet, but the silence was heavy. It was the kind of silence that came before a storm. Beneath the planet's crust, deep in the old bunkers built for a war that never came, giant engines began to hum. In an ancient underground hangar, the shadows of massive warships stirred. These were not ordinary vessels. They were black, sharp, and silent, designed for one thing only: war without mercy. General Mara stood on the command deck of the Vigilant Dawn, Earth's most powerful battleship. Her eyes were focused on the holomap as one by one, Earth's fleets came online. The core systems lit up with red pings: battle ready. The outer systems followed. Even the older colonies, long thought defenseless, showed movement: orders. "Confirmed," her second-in-command said. 17 fleets en route to the Tekri borders. "Good," Mara replied. "No speeches. No delays. We gave them every chance. Now they learn what pushing Earth really means." Meanwhile, the Coalition Council was in chaos. Reports came in fast: communications down in 4 systems, mining colonies silent, trade routes abandoned. Even the proud fleets of the Tekri were silent on the channels. No distress calls. No answers. Just silence. Van, the Tekri leader, stared at the reports in disbelief. This can't be from Earth. Their ships aren't that fast. But they were. Human warships had been secretly fitted with faster-than-light drives, tech they never shared with the Council. They had spent decades hiding their strength while pretending to be peaceful. Now, the galaxy was seeing the truth. A transmission arrived at the Coalition headquarters. It showed the Vigilant Dawn hovering over a Tekri outpost. The outpost's weapons had already been destroyed. A single human soldier walked through the wreckage. Not looting. Not laughing. Just placing a small flag into the ground. That flag had one word on it: enough. The message ended. One council member, a soft-skinned being from the Valari Republic, whispered, "We should have listened. We mocked them for being emotional, for caring too much, for remembering their dead. But humans don't forget," another alien said. "And they don't forgive easily." Back on Earth, Reed stood on the old Earth Embassy rooftop and looked at the stars. He held a data pad in his hands, filled with names of those who had died in the Tekri attack. He whispered, "They thought we were weak because we waited. But waiting wasn't weakness, it was warning." In orbit, Earth's fleets burned toward the heart of the Coalition, and across the galaxy, fear began to spread like wildfire. The humans had warned them, now the warning was over, and Earth was answering with fire. Fire in the dark. The Tekri home system, once full of pride and strength, now braced for something it had never truly faced: fear. Their border stations were silent, their ships offline, their outposts reduced to ash. No formal declarations. No diplomacy. Just the terrifying presence of silent, black Earth warships drifting through space like phantoms. General Mara stood aboard the Vigilant Dawn, watching the destruction unfold with cold precision. Her orders had been clear: strike hard, leave. No chance for retaliation, and make sure everyone was watching. System Beta 9 secured, her officer reported. No resistance. Civilians evacuated. Military infrastructure gone. Good, Mara said, her voice calm. Send the message again. A single signal beamed out through every open frequency, translated into every major tongue of the galaxy: you were warned. Earth does not warn twice. Across the galaxy, screens lit up with images of burning Tekri ships, abandoned colonies, and a single human soldier helping an alien child into a rescue pod. Earth's message wasn't just one of war, it was of power under control. That balance terrified the galaxy more than any explosion. Meanwhile, at Coalition Command, leaders from 27 species shouted across the room. Chaos reigned. Earth's gone too far. They warned us. They are committing genocide. They are showing restraint. They are not targeting civilians. The room froze when one voice, old and broken, spoke. It belonged to a former admiral of the Othari species, a race that had fought Earth 100 years ago and survived only by surrendering. "We poked the beast," the admiral said. "And the beast woke up. Now it's walking through our cities. With fire in its hands. And it still hasn't closed its fist." Even Van, leader of the Tekri, felt a rare twinge of doubt. He had always believed in strength. He thought Earth had no spine, only soft hearts and peaceful words, but the softest voice had become the loudest weapon. Elsewhere, in a remote spaceport, two scavenger crews fought to flee. One of the aliens, covered in grease and panic, shoved crates into a cargo hold. "Why are we running? You didn't hear. Earth took out 3 fleets in less than a day. No warning shots. Just silence, then ash." The other paused. "What did we even do to them?" The first one sighed. "We didn't. But we stood by while others did. And Earth remembers." For above, a black warship passed overhead, silent and steady. No shots fired. No threats made. Just presence. Just power. Back aboard the Vigilant Dawn, General Mara turned toward the star map. The next target blinked: an old Tekri weapons factory, now repurposed as a command base. "Send an Echo squad," she said. "Capture if possible. Destroy if not." And then she paused. "Make sure the cameras are rolling. Because this war wasn't just about revenge. It was about making sure no one would ever cross that line again." The Echo squad lands. The Tekri command base on the planet Drelva had once been a symbol of pride. Thick steel walls, high-energy turrets, and 10,000 soldiers stationed within. They believed it was untouchable. That belief ended the moment Earth's dropships broke through the clouds. There was no warning siren. No formal broadcast. Just a distant boom like thunder, and then the sky tore open with fire. Echo Squad dropped. First 0.6 humans in full battle gear moved like shadows across the rocky ground. Their suits were black, reinforced, and nearly silent. Each carried a rifle, but it wasn't their weapons that brought fear, it was their precision. They didn't waste a shot. They didn't shout. They didn't hesitate. Inside the Tekri base, alarms finally began to wail. Panic spread fast. Soldiers scrambled to their positions, but half the defense systems had already gone offline. They didn't know why. Echo Squad had already taken the control tower. Breach complete, said one soldier, his voice calm through the comm. We are inside. In the main command center, the Tekri officers tried to regroup. They are humans. Just 6 of them, one officer shouted. Then why is the power down? Another screamed. Why are the turrets not responding? Before anyone could answer, a grenade rolled into the room. Non-lethal. Smoke, then came footsteps, slow, steady, human. The soldiers froze as the smoke cleared. One of the Echo Squad soldiers stood tall in the doorway, visor reflecting the blinking red lights. He raised his weapon, but didn't fire. Instead, he spoke. You're not the target, he said. But the orders are clear. You'll surrender, or this place becomes dust. The Tekri hesitated. Then, one by one, they dropped their weapons. Outside, the battle was already over. It hadn't even lasted 20 minutes. From orbit, General Mara watched the footage in real time. She nodded once, then turned to the communications officer. Send the next message, she said. Show them the feed. Let the galaxy see how Earth fights, not with chaos, but with purpose. The broadcast went live across hundreds of systems. It showed the Tekri command post, untouched by heavy fire, its officers sitting on the floor with their hands raised, surrounded by calm, silent human soldiers. No blood. No screams. Just dominance. The message was simple. Earth didn't destroy because it wanted to. It did so when forced. And when it did, it was fast, cold, and unstoppable. Meanwhile, back at Coalition Command, new data streamed in, outposts going dark, fleets refusing to engage, and now one of the strongest Tekri bases had fallen without a single confirmed human death. Leaders from minor races started pulling their ambassadors from Tekri space. Others sent quiet messages to Earth, offering apologies or begging neutrality. Van, still refusing to back down, slammed his fist against the console. They think they can shame us with these displays. But the truth was clear, even to him. It wasn't about shame. It was about showing the stars exactly where Earth's final line had been and what waited on the other side, and now, the whole galaxy was watching. The Council breaks. The Coalition Council chamber was built to impress, massive pillars, glowing walls, and a ceiling that shimmered like a star field. But today, none of it mattered. Fear had hollowed out the room. Dozens of leaders, generals, and envoys filled the seats. Some stared at their screens. Others whispered to aides. A few simply sat still, stunned by what they had seen. The footage from Drelva played again on the main screen, human soldiers walking through the Tekri base untouched, unchallenged, and absolutely in control. Silence followed. Then, one voice spoke, a quiet, scaled diplomat from the Thalian species. Earth took one base. Without orbital bombardment. No mass death. Just strategy. Precision. They didn't want to send a message. They wanted us to understand it. Another leader, round-bodied, soft-skinned, nodded slowly. And we do. We must call for peace, said a third. If not, we may lose more than planets. We may lose our unity, our order. But Van, leader of the Tekri, stood tall. His voice was sharp. No. We cannot bend to fear. We are warriors. Earth thinks it can walk into our space, parade its soldiers, and dictate terms. If we surrender now, we prove them right. An old Valari elder turned toward him. Her voice was brittle, but strong. You still don't see it, Van. Earth has not destroyed you yet. Not because they can't, but because they are waiting. They are offering you something. A chance to stop. The room quieted again. Van glared around him. They are one species. One world. We are the coalition. But even as he spoke, alerts began flashing across the council screens. One by one, major military races were withdrawing from the conflict. The Varnaro fleet stood down. The Delcas pulled their ships from joint patrols. The Vethan colonies sent word they would not fight Earth. Then came the worst message of all. Earth had just entered the Tekari home system, not with a warning, not with demands, but with 5 black warships. Lined in perfect formation, hovering over the outer moon of Tekka Prime, the system's defense grid did not fire. Its planetary guns stayed cold, because Earth ships had already bypassed their targeting systems. Silently. At the edge of space, the Vigilant Dawn opened communications with the entire system. General Mara's face appeared on every screen. No anger. No hate, just a simple message: this is Earth's final advance. No more stations. No more battles. You have one choice. Stand down. Or face extinction. On the Tekari surface, citizens began to panic. Not because they were under attack, but because nothing was being attacked. That kind of calm. It was terrifying. Back in the council chamber, the room broke apart. Half the members walked out. Some threw their alliance badges on the floor. Others stood and declared neutrality. Earth hadn't just brought fire. It had cracked the foundation of the galaxy's oldest alliance with silence, steel, and certainty. And now, Van stood alone. The decision: the Tekari homeworld, Tekka Prime, had never known invasion. Its atmosphere shimmered with defense satellites. Its orbit was filled with war platforms and autocannons. The people believed they were untouchable, but now, 5 Black Earth warships hovered above, untouched, unchallenged, unstoppable. On the ground, panic had spread. Civilians ran from cities. Banks collapsed. Ships were grounded. The government tried to maintain order, but even the military command was silent. Too many officers had seen the footage. Earth didn't bluff. Inside the palace, Van sat in a war chamber with his last loyal officers. The room smelled of sweat and desperation. Maps showed red warnings blinking across their sectors. The human fleet hadn't fired a single shot here, yet the fear was worse than 1,000 attacks. They haven't sent troops, one of his generals whispered. They are waiting. Waiting for what? Van asked, though he already knew the answer: to see if we choose peace or extinction. Across the stars, Earth had paused, not because it was weak, but because it still gave a chance. In orbit, General Mara stood on the command deck of the Vigilant Dawn. Her officers waited, silent. No more strikes, Mara ordered. This is the last moment. Let the weight of their silence make the choice. She turned to the communications officer. Put me through to the Tekari High Command. Seconds later, the signal opened. Van's tired face appeared on the screen. His eyes were sunken, voice rough. You could have destroyed us, he said quietly. You still can. Why are you waiting? Mara stepped forward, her gaze steady. Because we remember what it's like to lose everything, she said. We remember what it's like to be mocked, pushed, and cornered. And we remember what comes after the line is crossed. She took a breath. You've crossed it. But we still believe in one last choice. Choose peace. Step back. Let your people live. Van didn't answer right away. Behind him, his generals argued. Some begged for surrender. Some whispered of escape, but Van, for the first time in his life, felt something heavy in his chest. Not pride, not rage. Something else: regret. He stood slowly, turned to his officers, and raised his hand. No more. The council chamber was contacted. The Tekari fleet stood down. Orders were given to pull back, to shut down weapons, to accept Earth's terms. Mara watched the confirmations roll in. One of her officers leaned closer. They are surrendering. Then we don't strike, she replied. We record everything. We make it public. Let the galaxy see what peace looks like when earned. That same day, Earth's message went out across every known system. We gave warning. We gave mercy. And now we give peace. The galaxy was stunned. Earth, a death-world species once seen as emotional and primitive, had just dismantled the most feared empire with near silence, total precision, and without losing control. And in that moment, Earth didn't just rise as a power. It became the standard. Earth's legacy. The stars no longer whispered fearfully of Earth, they now spoke with awe. What began as a brutal warning had ended in something greater. Earth hadn't crushed the Tekri Empire into rubble. It hadn't burned their cities, or left their planets in ruin. It had shown a different kind of power, restraint backed by unstoppable strength. In the days that followed, Earth's fleets remained in orbit only long enough to ensure the Tekri surrender was real. They offered no gloating speeches, no terms of humiliation. Just a single agreement. No more attacks. No more lies. Stay behind your borders and we will do the same. General Mara stood alone aboard the Vigilant Dawn as the last Earth fleet turned away from Tekka Prime. She watched the planet grow smaller through the main viewport. No cheers. No celebration, just peace. Her second-in-command walked up beside her. Think they'll try again? He asked. She shook her head. They saw what we are capable of. And more importantly, they saw that we chose not to go further. Back on Earth, Reed, the human diplomat who once sat silently in the council chambers, received a simple message from the Coalition, an invitation to return. He smiled faintly. No longer ignored, he whispered. Now they listen. When he stepped into the new council chamber weeks later, it was different. Quieter. Humbled. Many of the old voices had vanished. Those who remained greeted him not with arrogance, but with respect. The Valari elder bowed as he passed the Thalen. Ambassador nodded without a word. Van was not present. He had stepped down after the surrender. Some said he had gone into exile. Others believed he stayed behind to help rebuild. No one was sure. And maybe it didn't matter, because something far bigger had changed. A new standard had been set. Earth's name was now etched into the political center of the galaxy, not in fear, but as a warning of what patience, power, and principle could become when pushed too far. And still, Earth remained quiet. It didn't expand. It didn't boast. It simply went home. In distant systems, young cadets of alien fleets now studied Earth's war doctrine. Historians debated the strategy behind the silence. Children in outer colonies played games pretending to be Echo Squad, and all across the galaxy, one line from Earth's final message became a proverb: we warned you. And then we showed you. Not just a threat. A truth, and in that truth, the stars were changed forever. Asterisk.